Hey guys, it's Mike, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to use transitions, animations, and I'm going to show you at the end how to create this cool Star Wars effect using a combo of multiple animations. So that's coming up. So in this first activity we'll learn a little bit more about transitions in PowerPoint, and specifically the option to use a mouse on click versus automatic transitions and transition durations and what that means. So on the second slide, we'll click on the second slide, and you can apply this transition to slide 2 only, or we can apply it to the whole presentation like we're going to do. So we're going to go to slide 2, click the transition tab, which I've opened here, and here's your transition gallery. Yeah, so we'll leave that open. We're going to choose a specific one, but first we're going to change the transition options to, instead of now, if you want to pause and stop your presentation, you might want to choose the on mouse click option, so it'll transition to the next slide. So if we're on slide 2, we're presenting it, the slide won't change until you're ready. So if you click a button, so that's the on mouse click. Or if you have a set timing, you can choose after. So take away the on mouse click and choose after. And then we're going to say 8 seconds, which is probably really quick in a real life situation, but so that's 8 seconds, and these are milliseconds. So click, and then make sure that on mouse click is taken off. And then the second option, so this advanced slide is just how quickly do your slides transition from slide 2 to 3. That's what advanced slide is. And duration is how long the transition actually lasts. So some transitions are better being shorter, and then some are better being longer. So we're going to change ours to 3.5 seconds, and we're going to use the ripple transition. So if we go down the gallery, and it might not be a bad idea for you guys to study or just take a quick look over some of these in case you're asked some random one on your MOS test. So just kind of look at some of the ones that exist. There's 3 groups of them: the very subtle ones, the exciting ones, and the dynamic content. I would say if you're doing a professional presentation, try to stick to the subtle ones if you have to add transitions, and use exciting ones if you want to, I don't know, show people that might be interested in seeing animations and transitions in your presentation. So we're going to choose the ripple one, which I believe, see, I got to remember that. So this works well in our swim theme because it's a ripple. Looks like it's going to show us a quick preview here. It looks like someone splashing water. So that works with our swim school transition. And now that we've added on this slide only, so you can tell if a transition was added by the star here, you can choose. So we have to make sure again that now that I've added the duration, it went away. So we have to make sure we add the duration and then make sure that it's 3.5 seconds. And then we're going to say apply to all. So what happens is it puts it on the first slide. So you never need a transition on your first slide. And if you ever want to just take a transition off a specific slide, so I'm going to do that for slide 1, there's an option to choose none here. Okay, so your test will actually ask you that because it's a bit tricky. It's easy to add a transition, but how do you take away one? Well, there's no like delete transition button, but you can choose none on a certain slide to take away the transition. So that's how you would take away a transition. And before we leave to the next activity, I just have a critical thinking element to ask you guys. So let me know in the comments, and if you're watching this live, let me know yes or no. Does your favorite TV show use transitions? And what I mean by that is not jumping from camera angle to different camera angles, which TV shows do all the time. They probably do it every 6 or 7 seconds. But I mean, do you see transitions like this? If I was to, let's say, some TV shows will use a transition like this to show a change in space or time. So they'll use something like a wipe transition. I think I've seen this on Game of Thrones just once, but it's not very often. So let me know, does your favorite TV show have transitions like this? Yes or no in the comments. So now we'll just add some animations to our presentations. So what that's going to do is animate or give some movement to the objects on our slides. So in this one I've downloaded, we have the same presentation from last activity, and we'll just add we'll go to the first slide and click. Make sure you click the whole box so we don't just animate like one letter, which I've seen happen before. Make sure you click the whole box, the subtitle box, And then we're going to add the float animation. So I'm going to go to the animation tab, click on it. I should say, oh, float in. There's no just float. Float in is what I meant. And then that looks like this. And we're not told to change the direction, but if you wanted to, that's in the effect options, whether it's float down or float up. And then on slide 2, we're going to add the grow and shrink animation to the picture. So we have grow and shrink. That is a emphasis animation. So that's what that would look like. The picture would just kind of expand. And then there's a few more timing options as well over here on the right side. So instead of going after or just waiting for you to click it, it'll just automatically go after previous. And what that means is after the transition, this will start. So that's what we mean by after previous, because there's no previous animation, but there is a transition. So it'll go after the transition and then animate the bullet list to the left here. So again, make sure you select the whole box and not just one letter or one word. And then we're going to choose the expand animation, which is one of those animations that's not inside of the gallery. So if this is a question on the test and you don't see the animation that they're asking for, you can always choose more over here, and it's more entrance effects. All right, so now we have to try and find the expand animation, and it's right here. And we'll press OK once we've applied it, and then we're going to choose after previous. Oh, it's already there, so that's great. So this one's going to start first, and then we're as the start option and click move earlier. So we're actually going to move the bullet list before the picture list, which makes sense if you're thinking of animating your slide from left to right. So you can say move earlier, or you can do the animation pane, which would open up this little dialog box, and you can just move this one before this one. But just to keep it simple, because there's only 2, the animation pane should be used if you have like 16 different animations, which probably shouldn't put that many animations on your slide, but we only have 2, so we can just say move it before the other one. And now this one will start first, and if we want to preview that, we can. So we have the letters first, picture second, and that is it for animations. So now we're going to try something really fun with animations. I love this activity because it took me a while to figure out how to do this, but if you've never seen a Star Wars movie, what they do is they do this cool animation where the words disappear kind of into the galaxy. It's all about space, and well, it kind of implies that in Star Wars, but anyways, I'm gonna show you what this looks like and how we can add multiple animations to an object in our presentation. So we're going to download this presentation, and then I just had you guys zoom out to 60. You might want to zoom out a little bit more even, so I'm going to go to 50 just so you can see that there's already a text box. We don't have to write in the words. The text box is already there. It's got the words ready, and we're just going to add some animations so that we can make the words look like they're floating off and disappearing into this galaxy picture. So make sure you click on this twice and that this border of the text box is solid, because if you don't, you might be just animating one word or one letter in the text box. So make sure that's, even if you have to click on it twice, just confirm that that's a solid line. And then we're going to go to the animations tab, and the first one we're going to add in is a motion path. It's not this one. We are going to add a straight line, but this one is not the right one because it starts anywhere where you see a green dot. That's where the animation starts, and where the red one's is the red dot, that's where it stops. So this one is going from top to bottom. We need bottom to top, or just up. So there's one called up. If we scroll down after clicking on more motion paths, so we got up. The only problem is it's not perfect. The starting position is fine, so we don't have to change the green dot, but we have to move the red dot and try and get this as straight as possible. Okay, it's not too hard. Yeah, wait till you see that red line. I'm going to make this go almost all to the top, but and if you have a different way, if you're experimenting with this, if you have a different way to make this better, just go for it, and let me know if there's anything you would change that would make it look more like the Star Wars animation. If you're, because I've sort of experimented with this, but I have had students from last semester make it a lot better. So if you have a better option, or you see a step that could be better, just let me know. All right, so if we preview just to make sure it goes from bottom to top. So we've got our first one now. Pause when you're doing this if you're following along, because this is where we can make a mistake. So after step 5, we're going to scroll down. Make sure you click add animation to this object, because if you choose another animation, it's going to replace the last one. So you don't want to do that. We want to add a few animations to this one, or sorry, 2 main animations. So you want to click add animation, not just add it here. Okay, so make sure you add the grow and shrink. Okay, and then we're going to we're going to open up this animation pane, and we'll click on the first animation, which was the up one, and then click effect options, and just kind of make it look like this picture. So just drag this smooth start, we're going to take it away. And how do we know that's going to work? Because I've experimented with this, so trust me. And then make it, animate text all at once, so that's fine. Now there's a few things you can do differently with this grow and shrink animation. Okay, you can make it 10%, and then it's really important that when you do this that you say with previous, because you want these 2 animations occurring at the same time to make it work. So the grow and shrink will make it grow. It'll kind of like go out and then shrink into the background. So that's kind of nice. But if you don't click, so we want to make sure that we click with previous, okay? With previous, so it's not one after the other. They're happening at the same time. Effect options. So I went with 10% because it looked nice, and my last semester students in PowerPoint said it actually when they were playing around with the options, it was 60%. So there's no right answer here. So if you have a different way of doing any of these steps, just let me know if there's a way to make this better. So I went with 60. If you went with 10, that's both work. 60 just looks a little better. Okay, and then, so we're done that. All I changed was the size. And now we're going to increase, I'm going to click on both. So I'm going to click on the first one, hold down the control key on my keyboard, click the second, and then I'm just going to type in 30 seconds for this duration. Okay, and then let's do a full-size preview of this animation by pressing F5. And then I'm going to click. So this is what the final product looks like. If you have a way to make it better, please let me know in the comments. And thank you so much for joining us today, and I'll see you in the next one.